everybody? This is Jude from Section 122 on ArgosEndzone.com. It's time for Week 13 action as the Argos travel out west, take on the BC Lions for Friday Night Football. Before we get into that, let's take a look back at last week. Talk about a tale of two halves, eh? First half was what we'd all been hoping for with the return of Andre Dury. Was the Argos clicking on offense? Ricky Ray was untouchable through the air. Brazil with an early fumble looked like it was going to go badly, and then the Argos just started rolling. I mean, they were up by, 22 points at the half? It was amazing. Here's an artist rendition of what I looked like at the end of the first half. And then the wheels fell off. Like, we're talking chaos, disaster. It just steamrolled. It was... you remember that scene in The Replacements when Keanu Reeves, Falco, is talking about quicksand? That's what it reminded me of. You know, it just... something went wrong, and then another, and then another. So Brazil fumbles again. Slayton is ejected for kicking a guy in the go-betweens. And it just keeps falling apart. Bo Levi Mitchell's knocked out of the game. Charleston Hughes is knocked out of the game. This should be rolling, right? But no, the Argos end up blowing this lead, creating the biggest comeback in Stampeder history. Here's an artist rendition of what it looked like after the game was all over. I don't know what to say. Like, where do you go from there? No, this is why Scott Milanovic has paid the big bucks, because he's got to get this team up again, still on the road, to take on the BC Lions. I know he's up to the task. At least for myself, when I'm talking about the BC Lions, there's two things I first think of. First is their running game, as Harris is an absolute beast, and if they start subbing in Logan, they've got that two-headed monster in the backfield that is a very, very difficult prospect for a defense to stop. And then the other side of that would be BC's defense, with Eliminian and Big Hill making big plays from those linebacker positions. Those are what I'm watching more than anything whenever I see the BC Lions play. So Toronto's got to be aware when the Argos are on defense, they've got to make sure they contain that running game, but don't give Glenn too much time to find players downfield. So I'm looking for, again, as always, big plays out of Shane Horton and Shea Emery. They're both good for at least one big play per game, so consecutive plays could get this thing rolling in the right direction and get between Glenn's ears, which would be great news for the Argos. On the offensive side, those linebackers make life absolutely miserable for any type of running game or short passing game. So what that offensive line has got to do is keep Ricky Ray healthy, keep him upright, so he can exploit that deep corner route, which he's known for. Take them right out of the equation. Speaking of adding to the equation, news is Chad Owens, the Flying Hawaiian, will be making his return. Really excited to see him back, of course. To see a healthy Owens and a healthy Dury getting the ball thrown to him by a healthy Ray. This is what Argos fans love to see. If we can get a little bit of balance from that running game against those linebackers, this could be a very long day for the BC Lions, which would be a lot of fun for us Argos fans. This week's fantasy pick, to me, is a no-brainer. I've dressed Chad Owens right away. I know he's going to make an impact. He's excited to be back, well-rested, and hungry. So, watch the Flying Hawaiian make a huge impact. Sign him up right now. You will not be disappointed. Unless my kiss of death is still working, in which case I sincerely apologize to everybody. So, prediction for this week's score, BC's not known for being a high-octane offense, but they can make the odd big play, which can really swing momentum their way. The Argos had an outstanding first half. If they can put two halves together, get a full 60 minutes out of their offense, they could put up a ton of points. So, it's a tough one. It's a great field there at BC Place, promoting great speed and skill. It's not going to be a big, sloggy, messy field. So let's hope it's a big, high-scoring game again, kind of like we had last week, just with a better outcome for our double blue, shall we say. So let's go with a 38-32 win for our double blue, with Chad Owens becoming the offensive player of the week. Just throwing it out there. No pressure, Chad. Great to see you back. So that'll wrap things up for us here on Week 13. Hope you had some fun. Feel free to comment down below. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. We'll have some giggles, right? The game is Friday night, 10 o'clock kickoff, with it being on the West Coast. So be aware. Make sure you get some coffee or Red Bull into you, unless of course you got to work Saturday morning, in which case budget yourself accordingly. But should be a blast. This road trip is almost over. I swear it's almost over. The Argos are almost coming home. Almost. So, Friday night, sit down, have some fun. You know I will. Until next time, this is Jude from Section 122 and ArgosEndzone.com. Remind you that the ride is there.